No Brexit, protesters shout as British Prime Minister Boris Johnson arrives in Berlin. For the first time since he took office a month ago, he met with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. His goal, to reopen negotiations on Brexit.
We in the UK want a deal. We seek a deal. And I believe that we can get one. We can do it. Wir schaffen das, I think is the phrase. But clearly, we cannot accept the current withdrawal agreement.
Johnson wants to scrap the backstop, a clause designed to prevent the return of customs and security checks along the Irish border. The EU, however, has ruled out renegotiating the existing Brexit agreement. In Berlin, Merkel set Johnson the challenge of finding a solution quickly.
The backstop
has always only been a last resort. If we don't need that last resort, and if we're saying that we might find this agreement in the next 2 years, but perhaps we will find it in the next 30 days, why shouldn't we? Both Merkel and Johnson seem optimistic that a solution can be found. In Berlin, however, no solution has yet emerged, and time is running out. If no side moves, the UK may head for a no-deal exit at the end of October.
So can a chaotic Brexit still be avoided? DW political correspondent Hans Brandt joins us now for more on that. Good morning, Hans. Angela Merkel thinks it is possible within 30 days to solve the Irish border problem. Can it be solved that quickly?
Well, I think it's too strong to say that she thinks it's possible. She's saying that it's not impossible. She's saying it's conceivable. But if you look at it realistically, this is the problem that the whole Brexit discussion has hinged on since the beginning, since 2016, since the referendum was held. And in all that time, no solution has been found on how to deal with the Irish border after Brexit. And in fact, what the deal at the moment says, the deal that Theresa May and the EU agreed on, is that we will have further discussions on this for another year or two, that transition period after formal Brexit, before the backstop actually comes into effect, if no solution is found in that time. So all Angela Merkel is saying, no, if you find a solution now, OK, that's fine, if you can conceive of one, but it is the Brits who have to make proposals. It's they who have to decide what is going to be acceptable to them.
OK, so they have to present it. London has to present something. Do you think in the background there's some motion, some discussions going on that both these leaders are alluding to? There's a lot of optimism expressed here in Berlin yesterday.
I think Angela Merkel is someone who's always saying we can always talk. As long as the channels of communication are still open, we can still discuss things. We can still come, even at the last minute, come to some sort of agreement that will avoid a no-deal Brexit. It's conceivable that somewhere in the background people are still talking about this. Certainly there have been joint groups, joint committees looking at this question several times. And of course, in Britain, one assumes that there are people who are continuing to think about possibilities, technical solutions. But so far at the moment, there's no sign of any solution in the offing.
OK, Hans, in a few hours, Boris Johnson's going to be sitting down with the French president in Paris for lunch. What kind of reception is he going to get there on this idea?
Well, if one looks at what Macron has been saying in the last couple of days, it's going to be a lot chillier reception than he got, that Boris Johnson got in Berlin yesterday here in Germany. Macron has been saying that he is very pessimistic about any further solution being found before a crash out, before a no-deal Brexit. And he's been saying the responsibility for that rests firmly in London with Boris Johnson and his government. If no solution is found, well, that's how it's going to be.
Do you think we could see cracks emerging between Berlin and Paris on this, or will the unity of the EU remain in place on the backstop?
At the moment, I don't see any cracks emerging at all. Unity has been very strong, and I think the position of France and Germany here, you could see a little bit as a kind of bad cop, good cop situation. Angela Merkel is saying, well, come on, let's talk. The channels of communication are still open, and Macron is saying, well, you know, if you don't want to, that's OK with us too.
Hans, as ever, thanks very much. Hans Brandt for us this morning.